Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Produce Buzzers podcast. We are so happy you have joined us today, and I think you will be too after the show is over, because you will learn a lot about fresh fruits and vegetables, how to select and store them, how to prepare and cook them, and surprising facts about their history and origin. We hope it inspires you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, not only for your health, but also for your delight and pleasure as you explore their amazing world of taste and delicious flavors. Eating more of them will transform your life in so many positive ways. So settle back, relax, and get ready for another delicious adventure with the Produce Buzzers. Greetings and welcome to another delicious episode of the Produce Buzzers podcast. I'm Edwin Stepp, your host and executive editor of ProduceBuzz.com. I'm joined once again by the president and founder of Produce Buzz, Teresa Nolan, along with Rick Stepp and Cynthia Benedetto, both contributing editors to Produce Buzz. Now, Produce Buzzers podcast fans, you know, we always say that this is the gathering place for lovers of fresh fruits and veggies. But we realize that many of you out there struggle to find that love that we have. So today we are on a stealth mission. Today's episode is a special treat. We're joined by Heidi Herman, author of the Hidden Vegetables Cookbook, 90 tasty recipes for veggie-averse adults. That's right. Not just kids, not just moody teenagers, but full-grown veggie dodgers. Yes, adults, not toddlers, not moody teenagers. We're talking about the full-grown humans, people who pay taxes, operate heavy machinery, and still flinch at the sight of a zucchini. Heidi saw the crisis and answered the call, crafting 90 deliciously devious recipes designed to sneak vegetables into meals so seamlessly, so invisibly, so deliciously, even the most die-hard veggie skeptics will find them saying, wait, that had spinach in it? If you've ever pushed Brussels sprouts to the edge of your plate or pretended cauliflower was just too filling, Heidi's got your number and your solution. In this episode, we'll chat with Heidi about how growing up in an Icelandic-American household shaped her fearless approach to food, why our childhood vegetable trauma still haunts us in adulthood, and how she manages to turn everything from brownies to mac and cheese into Trojan horses of nutrition. We'll also get the lowdown on her top tricks for fooling even the most suspicious eaters. Spoiler, grated carrots are sneakier than you think. And how to turn a dinner party into a stealth health intervention without anyone ever realizing what hit their palate. So buckle up, buzzers. Whether you're a kale crusader or a spinach skeptic, this episode is sure to plant some new ideas in your kitchen. Let's dig in. Welcome to the show, Heidi. Thanks for joining us.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is something I've been looking forward to. It's great to be with y'all.
Yeah, I was so glad that Lorona, your publicist, reached out to us, and we learned about this cookbook and learned about some of the other things you have done, especially in the world of cookbooks. So we're delighted to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I just briefly mentioned a bit about your background, that Icelandic American heritage, but tell us more about your background. Where did you grow up? What was life like for you early on?
Yeah. I grew up in central Illinois. My parents actually met in Iceland in Reykjavik during World War II. So my mom immigrated after they got married and had the culture shock experience of going from Iceland in 1945 to, the breadbasket of America.
Right. Did you say Southern Illinois or Central?
Central. Yep.
So,
So there were a lot of things that she was introduced to in American culture that were completely foreign, obviously. And not the least of which was vegetables. Growing up for her, which I found kind of funny. She said, well, we had rutabaga. And my first thought was, what is rutabaga? I'd never even heard of that. But yeah, they would have that instead of potatoes and anything that is considered in America, those super nutritious green leafy vegetables. They didn't have any of those.
Right.
Um,
Well, they're hard to grow in Iceland, I would imagine, first of all, right? Just
exactly. Yeah.
shorter growing season, rocky soil. Anyway,
Hmm.
that was one of the thoughts I had when I
Yeah,
read that.
absolutely. And that's true. Today, they have a lot of hot houses and
Right.
indoor where they can grow a lot. And then, of course, since World War II, the international trade is so much better
Yeah.
now that it's not really an issue now.
Right.
But back then, it definitely was different.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
A lot of fish.
A lot of fish, dairy, some berries, but just not a whole lot of vegetables and certainly not salad. But I think part of it was also how everybody in the family works, it, doing different things on the farms, with the herds and that. And so there weren't really times where everybody would sit down around the table together. A lot
Hmm.
of times they would have a soup going on the back of the stove. You'd come in, you'd grab some bread, some soup, stew, and then grandma would just kind of add whatever else to the soup, to keep it going throughout the day. So I guess when you don't have full meals served on the table, having that main dish and two side dishes and a bread, all that type of thing, it just wasn't something they did. So by the time I was growing up, in the 70s and 80s, we did a little bit sometimes on Sunday, and anytime my mom made a meal for the table, her go-to vegetables were always potatoes and carrots or potatoes and corn.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But Central Illinois, those are probably the staples.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just wasn't something I was introduced to. And I think a lot of times that's where the benefit is of, parents that say, oh, just you have to take a little taste. You have to taste something because that introduces all those flavors to you.
Right.
And having a parent who said, "Ooh, yeah, I don't like that. I'm not serving it." I never tasted it. So by the time I was in my 20s, it was almost like an embarrassment thing where,
Mhm.
I was trying to be all professional and in my sales job and taking clients out to lunch. And, you know, I'm not going to eat a salad. You can't. So,
So you had to fake it at these
oh,
dinner lunches, sales meetings. Pretended that
yeah,
you
exactly.
liked the salad and the veggies.
Well, it's exactly like you said. Oh, goodness, I'm so full. I can't.
Right. It's just too fulfilling. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that heritage came from Iceland, and pretty much that dictated your what the family had as meals, and it continued, and that continued into your adulthood. It sounds like. It,
It did. It did. It really wasn't until I was probably in my 40s before I thought, you know what, my eating habits are kind of bad. I really have to start doing better.
yeah.
But after you have things just so established, it is really hard to change your palate
Oh
and
yeah.
and change the taste that you like. Uh,
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So if I had to diet for my weight, that would be a very big problem for me.
mhm.
But when people are like, ah, yeah, like you grew up in agriculture and like, so I can sell it, I can cook most of it. But what my palate goes to is kind of Icelandic. Like I could do soups, I could do the bread, but it's like fried, I really like is my favorite food. But like, so when I tell people, like, if I was an alcoholic, I could just not go to bars or I could, not have it in my house and not hang out with people like that. But try changing your diet at my age. Like it's everywhere that the foods that you shouldn't be eating. I'm
Sorry.
not going to drop dead if I don't drink a drop of alcohol. I might drop dead if I don't eat any food, for
The right kinds, especially.
Yeah.
But 100%, like to change your palate is
Yeah.
nearly impossible, I think.
Right.
It is. It is. So you're faced with that whole adult quandary of I need to eat healthy, but I literally can't choke it down. So what do you do?
Right.
Well, you get inspired by what a parent does for little kids where they're hiding a little bit of the spinach in lasagna, which, oh my gosh, the first few times that I ate somewhere where somebody did that, why, why in heaven's name do people steam spinach and then layer it into the lasagna? So when you try to take a bite, it's like this slimy stuff all over the place. Take it a step farther, puree it, and then you mix it in with your ricotta. It makes the ricotta green, but there's no chunks. It's so much better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's one of your recipes. I looked over the book. Was it a spinach lasagna you had in there? But it was pureed.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
book. We'll get into talking about the book soon here because it's really a fascinating book. So this carries into your adulthood. Sounds like you had a career before writing cookbooks and doing your motivational speaking, which we didn't mention before, but you do that as well.
Yeah.
What was that career path like? And did you ever think at that point, oh, I'm going to write cookbooks one day?
No, absolutely not. No. I've always loved cooking. I love reading. And I remember those old Scholastic
Oh, yeah.
catalogs that you used to get in school. I remember being in fourth grade. The first book I ever bought with my own money was a little cookbook, and I learned how to make cookies, and that's where it all started. But no, my primary career in adulthood was in telecommunications. I had a very complicated, high-stress job of auditing phone bills, and I used to tell people my profession was arguing with the phone company. In a nutshell, that's what I did. At one point, I did retire from that, and on a whim, bought a little pizzeria that had been closed down in North Carolina, and did that for a few years. I ran a pizzeria, and that was kind of fun. So, yeah,
Fantastic.
that was fun. And I suppose at that point in time, I did a little of experimentation as far as incorporating veggies into food because I love the idea of a taco pizza. And everybody likes all the spices and everything on a taco pizza, but I could never stand just the chunks of the black olives and the peppers and the tomatoes. And so that was probably the first thing I ever did where I had to puree it together for pizzas that I ate.
Yeah.
I wanted all those flavors, but man, I couldn't take the chunks.
Yeah, texture is really important, and whether you like
is.
something or not. I read somewhere years ago that people are predominantly either texture oriented or taste oriented, and one dominates the other. I think for me, texture dominates, but
Absolutely.
I like a lot of textures, so I'm okay there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's interesting.
That's good.
Yeah, I think and that's probably a big part of it. I eat carrots, I like carrots, but raw carrots, the texture of raw carrots for me is not great. I like when I put them on a salad, I shred them, down so the texture's kind of gone. So,
Yeah.
what
about carrot cake, Edwin? Would that work?
Well,
Of course. Of course.
Well,
And,
yeah.
Heidi has some, I don't know if she has specifically a carrot cake. I know she had some other carrot breads and muffins. There was a carrot muffin, I think, in the book, right? In the book.
Yeah. I think I put a carrot coffee cake in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Got it.
Yeah.
I knew there were at least one or two in the sweet area
Yeah.
with carrots, and that works well.
Yeah.
So-
Carrots are just so flexible in what you can put them in. And, when you mince them down fine enough, man, they just blend in invisibly. It's great.
Right. Okay, so Heidi, you've run a pizza place. I suppose you didn't start writing cookbooks until that was over. So how
Yeah.
did you make this transition? Tell us about
It actually was about the time I was leaving North Carolina and going back to Illinois. My mom had decided to write a memoir about growing up in Iceland.
it. Oh, great.
And that was a lot of fun because she self-published it at 88 years old,
Wow.
Wow.
which was like so cool. And reading some of the things that she put in there, I thought it'd be kind of fun to write a couple of children's books based on some of the mythology and legends that she had in there. So we did that, and then we traveled together promoting the books, and then we co-authored an Icelandic cooking cookbook we translated the recipes and changed everything to American measurements and that so we could make stuff here.
Right.
And so, yeah, we just both had a good time writing books. I wrote a couple of more in a couple of different genres, as she did. I wrote a novel, and then she kept talking to people. They were always interested in her vitality and her zest for life. And she wanted to encourage people to stay active and invested in life no matter what. So when she was 93, she decided to do 93 things that she had never done before. Which
Oh,
was
that
so
is
fun.
great.
What year was she born?
1925.
Same year as our mother.
Yes. My mom was 26. So go ahead. So
Okay,
what were
okay.
some of the 93 things?
Oh my goodness. She had several things that were food related, which were kind of fun. Trying like kohlrabi for the first time. She had on there sushi, I think was one thing that she tried for the first time. She dyed her hair red just because. But at that point, it was white, so it kind of came out pink and it looked really cute. So she kept that. But she went hiking in Arches National Park. She
Wow.
went to an animal preserve, and she went off and petted a pig, and it just all kinds of interesting things. And she kind of had this approach that it's like whatever there is to do, I'm going to do that thing, and whatever came up, she was just like, oh, okay, yeah, country line dancing. Oh, I've never done that before. Yeah, I'll hop in and take a lesson for that. And it's just a whole bunch of random things that, some of them were ideas that people sent her on Facebook or her social media, and others were like things that she had been thinking about for a long time that she wanted to do. We went to Iceland, and she did an ice cave tour with the crampons on her feet and kind of climbed up the ice wall and
She's
everything.
93.
At 93. Yeah.
But did
Paragliding.
she grow up with that? Well, first of all, that generation were fearless and living through war that they had to be warriors in their own right. But growing up in Iceland, like I would think nothing made her fearful or I don't want to do that. Am I right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. She was when she wrote her memoir, um, she titled it Growing Up Viking. And when she made a children's version of that book, she called it Viking Kids Don't Cry, because
Uh,
that's what her grandfather used to say. You can scream, you can stomp your feet, you can jump up and down, but don't you dare cry. And it's
Interesting.
just kind of like that Scandinavian mindset that, yeah, bad stuff's going to happen. You're just going to overcome it. Tomorrow's going to come no matter what. So you might as well have a good attitude about it. And that's what she did. And she was just always adventurous and always open to say yes. And there was once that we needed to do a presentation in New Jersey. We lived in Illinois. So we took an extra 10 days, I think, and we drove through Canada and all through New England. And,
Wow.
whatever thing we went to pass, we just stopped and had just really interesting adventures no matter what we did. So, yeah, I think that's just the Scandinavian mindset and just her outlook. Just what she called her Viking blood.
Yeah.
It's a lot of adventurous and just, hey, you have so much life. You don't know when it's going to end or how long it's going to last. And she was really happy that her passport expired when she was 100, And she said, I don't know if I'm gonna. She did pass away at the age of 94, but her passport was good to
Well,
100. So,
God bless
she
her.
was fine with it.
she was optimistic. She, of course,
Yeah.
when she renewed it, that's a kind of an Easter egg for this podcast to hear about your mother. I didn't know any of that. What a great
Yeah.
story. So
She's amazing.
her adventuresome spirit then inspired you to do some
To
of
do
the.
many things. Yes, absolutely. And the food was definitely part of it because she was so healthy throughout so much of her life. And a lot of it, I think, even though she didn't eat vegetables, she had a lot of other types of things implanted in her mindset on how she would eat. Very fresh foods and a lot of fish, and very little bad stuff. So it's
Yeah,
not only a matter of eating the good stuff, it's avoiding the bad stuff.
right.
And I think I went the opposite way. I ate a lot of bad stuff for a while and I didn't eat quite so much of the good stuff. So I did have to find a way because oh my goodness, she lived in 94, my father lived in 91. I've got the genes to live that long,
Yeah,
so I want to be in good shape for it.
right.
So I definitely wanted to figure out how
Yeah.
do we eat better? Yeah.
Well, that Viking Norse diet is pretty healthy, and I guess throughout all those cultures, until as we discussed in recent times, there weren't a lot of greens and veggies available. But, potatoes get a bad rap, but potatoes are actually very, very nutritious. They are loaded. The carbs, people, I think that's the thing they get the most from. And if you're eating them fried or potato chips, that's not helping. But
Yeah.
anyway, potatoes and fish, you're going to get quite a bit of what you need just from those
Yeah.
two things. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
get down to how you came up with this idea. So you're veggie averse, you're hanging
Mhm.
out, you're working in sales and in the corporate world, and you're hiding that fact from others.
Yeah.
You don't want anybody to know this. But how
Yeah.
did you figure out that, okay, wait a minute, maybe I'm not such an oddball here. There's a lot of other people.
Well, that realization came much later. I really started a dedicated effort that was just very personal, trying to incorporate more veggies into food. I realized that some of like my siblings, their kids, all of a sudden they're teaching them to eat vegetables, and more family events that I go to, there's vegetables all over the place. I'm trying to figure out how did everybody else get so welcoming to vegetables and I got left out. So I had to, I had to focus on it. And I found that, adding, you can start with the easy ones, with your carrots or, celery's another easy one where you chop that up and cook it into a soup or something. It virtually disappears.
Right.
And then experimenting with things like zucchini, especially if it's shredded, it'll disappear into stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of trying to slice it up and put it on the grill because it's still zucchini then.
I saw that face that you made. Like you might consume it, but like that's not going to be
No.
like, no.
Yeah, no, not really. So I came up with, starting to get more and more and more, and now I'm eating all these veggies. And there were a few times where maybe I served something that, like, I made brownies that had beets in there, or a chocolate cake that had zucchini. There were people that said, "Oh my gosh, really? That had vegetables in it? Wow, what a cool idea! Hey, can you give me that recipe?" And then it really, when I read in a newspaper that there were a lot of people who sort of felt bad that they didn't like vegetables, but they really thought eating healthy would make them miserable. I thought,
Yeah.
why can we not eat healthy and still be happy about it? And honestly, when I looked around, there are tons of cookbooks of, learn how to love vegetables. Oh, fabulous. I need this cookbook. And I'd open it up and it's all about, well, you have to steam them to bring out their natural flavor. And I'm like, natural flavor is the problem. No offense to them. I'm sure they're beautiful vegetables. But so I wanted to do like the opposite. And then, I thought, well, even if there's a handful of people out there like me who don't like them or want to, add a little bit or just have more fun with vegetables, who knew that you can puree kale and put it into coconut cream pie and it's fabulous, you know?
Now, when you said the beets into brownies,
Yeah.
are these raw? Are all these vegetables raw and then you put them in, or do you roast any of them or process them in any way?
Most of them, yeah, well, like spinach, kale, I'll steam them and puree them. Beets or anything that's like a squash or sweet potatoes, you want to roast those and then they mash or you can puree those pretty easily. Carrots, I tend to just clean them and then just dice them. And I'll keep them in the freezer and just kind of measure it out and put it in whatever I'm cooking. They cook pretty fast. Um, yeah, celery the same way. I'll use that, just fresh.
Yeah.
But a lot of things I want to make sure they're prepped, and a lot of times I'll freeze them because it's so hard sometimes to go through big quantities of veggies without them going bad, and I always hate that. That's so
Yeah.
wasteful.
There's a section at the beginning of your book that tells how to prepare them for all these recipes, and a lot of
Hmm.
it's pureeing, juice, but shredding. But that's great because she goes through a whole list of vegetables in the book, and then shows how she prepares them for veggie averse people. You want to talk about that a little bit? Uh, I,
Yeah, yeah. In incorporating any of these kind of when you go to the store, I mean, first off, I wanted to be able to help people know how to choose them, how to select them. So I went to a lot of experts and said, okay, if I want to choose a good kohlrabi, what's it supposed to look like?
yeah,
What's it supposed to, smell like? And then once you bring it home, what do you do with it? How long can it really sit on the counter before I have to do something with it? Or like with spinach, I only have about 3 days in the refrigerator. How do I make it last longer? So by pureeing it and maybe putting it in ice cube trays, then you have these nice little 1 ounce frozen squares that you can
yeah,
do something with, and it just makes it so much easier to say, oh, okay, I have everything prepped. Just go to the freezer, grab out whatever, add it to whatever you're making, and it
that's
kind of helps ensure that you're gonna get those vegetables into the food because everybody has the idea that eating healthy is nice. I'm going to eat more vegetables, but then they just don't. It's too hard. It takes too long. Or I bought vegetables last week and now they're slimy and I didn't use them and now I have to throw them away. So
right.
I
Yeah,
wanted to find a way to avoid that.
and that's also in the front of her book, how to choose vegetables, various vegetables, and how to store them, keep them. A lot of helpful information in the beginning of the book. So,
Yeah, thanks.
yeah. So,
Oh,
so
yeah.
why do you think so many adults are turned off by veggies? Bad childhood experiences, poor cooking. What's your?
I think it's a combination of things. I did read a really surprising statistic, almost an unbelievable statistic. And I think folks with your expertise would say, wait a second, that can't possibly be.
I think I know
But
what it's going to be, and we know it. But go ahead.
in 2019, did you see that veggie tracker statistic that 25% of people in the United States have never eaten a single vegetable in their life?
Now that I did not see.
I'm
But
like,
what we've been
What
involved.
age of the
I
25%?
know.
Like
Now,
that's
if you
yeah.
take everything, and factor in everybody under the age of 2 who hasn't tested everything yet, maybe.
Yeah,
But I mean,
right. The stat that we see often, in fact, that's one of the motivations for our podcast is to encourage people to eat more and just get them think. We didn't want to preach to them, say, eat your vegetables like your mom, but we just
mm,
wanted them to think about them. And we try to do that in a fun way. But the stat that's been around as long as we have been involved in the produce industry, and we've been involved with a lot of the trade organizations, the International Fresh Produce Association, and a number of other groups like that, the stat that has just stayed constant through the years we've worked with it is that only about 12 to 15% of adults get the recommended daily allowance of fruits and vegetables. So I thought that's where you're
Yeah.
going. I had not heard that 25% of people said they'd never eaten one. So you surprised me.
Those 25%, no one has ever eaten a potato, but we don't call a potato a vegetable, correct?
It could be. The only thing that I found on that, I'm like, boy, that just seems odd. Uh, yeah. There are a few famous celebrities that will come right out and swear that they have never deliberately eaten a vegetable or they dramatically
Right.
avoid them.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, but
So
yeah,
you
I mean,
you
it's
saw that.
You can't call French fries a vegetable, correct? We're talking.
well, I do if it's sweet potato fries. I mean, that
But even if
counts.
it's regular, but a
It's
potato,
still a potato.
yeah.
You can
Yeah.
air fry them and they don't have oil on them and it's just
Yeah.
like eating a
And
potato.
And if you leave the skin on the potato, that's even
Yeah.
more nutrition in there.
Right.
So I think all that stuff should count.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I just don't believe that 25% of people have never had French fries.
Well,
Basically,
that
he's
was
saying like
probably-
Heidi, he needs a bibliography. He
So-
needs
so-
you to prove that.
Here's the
Yeah.
telling, I think, I don't know the study, but here's what I assume from that. This was a survey. People were asked, have you ever eaten a vegetable? They don't even know what a
Probably, yeah.
vegetable is. So
It could be.
that's a
It
telling
could
thing
be.
right there, that they don't even know really what vegetables.
Exactly.
Oh my
Because
God. I know
if-
they could be driving on the road at the same time we are. Oh, good Lord.
and it also depends on what's in what category, because technically rhubarb is a vegetable.
Right.
And lots of people have had rhubarb pie, and that
Mhm.
counts.
Yeah.
So,
And then there's, the old thing about tomato is actually a fruit. Peppers are actually a fruit when you categorize them. But anyway,
yeah. Anyway,
we
but
got you
to-
off the track. So you
Yeah, I know,
see this
I know. But to
survey.
answer your question,
Yeah.
why are so many adults put off by it? I think it is a variety of things. I think it's not being introduced to them in childhood, or the way they're introduced to them in childhood, especially like folks that are in the baby boomer or Generation X and that. If you look at what baby food companies did, how they would, again, puree them up. And I don't know, I'm sure lots of us taste tested baby food, and baby food carrots does not taste like carrots. And,
Right.
beets does not taste like beets. So even though they've been introduced to those, the flavor and the texture is different than what it is in the real sense of the vegetable.
Right. That's a good point.
So as we get older, all of a sudden, somebody starts throwing cold beets in a salad, and that's not the same as having Harvard beets so I think a lot of what you change the flavor profile to and what you're incorporating it with, it changes it so much. So yeah, I think maybe not looking at the vegetable and being creative in how you prepare it, like a zucchini. You could have it everything from grilled and, fried. You can batter it. You can put it in zucchini bread. There's 100 different ways you can make it, and it tastes drastically different every single time. So
Right.
I think by us not having sort of the open mind on there's 100 ways you can prepare any vegetable, let's embrace using the vegetable and not have that predefined idea that kale is gross, and even if I put it in a smoothie, I'm still going to taste it and not like it.
Right.
Yeah, kale's fine.
Yeah.
Just make
Is
sure
it
whatever
bad?
you mix it with, it has a stronger flavor.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've never had baby food. Is that shameful?
Not too late, Cynthia.
So,
when you're sitting in the
Child
old
looked like
folks'
she
home,
did survive.
when you're sitting in the old folks' home, you'll be in a diaper, and I'll come feed you some baby food.
Better bring some
I
ice
think-
cream and
For me, perhaps it was food curiosity, especially when I was babysitting. So I was like, oh, I wonder what this tastes like, because I do remember being a young kid being at my babysitter's house the first time she cooked spinach. And I think that's what gave me sort of a lifelong aversion to spinach, is because I remember that smell
Yeah.
so strongly that, it gets in your mouth even before you taste it. And
Right.
somehow your mind goes like, oh, I don't want to taste that.
Yeah. That.
And I think that's the biggest problem, isn't it? That they're either they're just prepared in such a way that no one would eat it. Whether it's like the zucchini always gets the bad rap because it just is so soft. And once you cook it into mush, then
So what do you say to people who feel guilty for not liking vegetables?
I absolutely say anybody who thinks they don't like their vegetables, they're not eating their vegetables, I say, you know what? You don't ever have to like your vegetables. There are so many great ways to prepare them. Incorporate them into what you do like. I love sloppy joes, but I can slice and dice a bunch of. I use leeks rather than onions, a little more nutrition there.
Interesting.
Put some carrots in there. You can even put like pureed spinach, pureed spinach in there if you want to, or um, butternut squash, anything like that. It'll incorporate so easily into something like that, or your soups, your stews, lots of
Yeah.
different things.
I saw
so
that
in
recipe in your book, and when we were kids, we used to have sloppy joes quite regularly. I think it was probably just out of that can.
Yeah.
But I saw that I haven't had sloppy joe in years. I said, I got to try that one.
so when you rice cauliflower, do you do it raw and then pop it in the refrigerator, or is there any kind of blanching of that?
No, I do it raw and then I freeze it directly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't blanch it.
The freezing kind of um, breaks it down so that it's almost like it's cooked.
Yeah, it really
Mhm.
does. And definitely one like zucchini, that one a lot. You're gonna have a lot of excess liquid
Yeah.
when that
Yeah,
when that
yeah.
thaws.
They have a lot
But
of water in them already. So
yeah. And
that's,
and both the cauliflower and the zucchini, that's not necessarily a bad thing because you can keep that and then anything that you're making that requires water, like even condensed soup or something like that, use that instead and you're saving some of that little nutritional
yeah,
aspect to it. Why not?
right.
You
Very
don't
good.
throw that liquid away though from the
No,
zucchini.
no,
Yeah, you
no.
use it in the recipe. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep it, and if it's not needed for the recipe I'm making, just have it in a jar in the refrigerator, and whatever you're making that needs water, yeah, just go ahead
That's
and
where
use
a
that
lot of the
instead.
Oh,
nutrients
that
are.
that's
You
Mhm.
that's
lose them if you
very
throw that
wise.
out.
So,
Yeah.
are you like your mom and grandma, and like if you are putting on a soup today, does it stay on this on the stove all day,
Um, I
ready to
use
like ladle some into a bowl?
I do, yeah. If I'm gonna have soup for the evening meal, I usually start it around 2 o'clock, and yeah, and then we could easily bring it back out the next day or whatever. But yeah, I tend to like it. Because it allows all those flavors to blend and it gives lots of time for the veggies to break down.
Yeah. You mentioned this earlier about those veggies cooking down. And of
Yeah.
course, the base of a lot of soups is the mirepoix, which is, what is it,
Mhm.
carrots, onions, and celery? Is that the mirepoix?
That's
There's another
the
one that
French
comes out
one,
of, yeah.
the
And then
Holy Trinity, isn't that down?
that's New Orleans,
Yeah,
but that's pepper. That has peppers,
right.
but
Mhm.
mirepoix has the carrots, onions, and celery. So that's the basis of a lot of soups. And so right there, you're
Mhm.
three veggies ahead if you're making
Yeah.
a good soup the right way.
Yeah.
And I saw that's in your book as well. So that's very good. So, well, let's talk about how you tested these rep and came up with these recipes. I mean,
Yeah.
you got 90 recipes in
I
this book.
know.
So you had to do a lot of experimenting. This took some
I did.
time. What was that
Yeah.
process like?
It was, I only got serious about 5 years ago thinking about making it into a cookbook, but I've been cooking for myself this way for closer to 10 years.
Hmm.
So, and when I got serious about putting a cookbook together, a lot of it was, oh wow, I'm going to have to write down measurements, and usually I just kind of throw it together because
Yeah.
you memorize it.
Yeah.
Um, and then I really did have to remake everything at least once because we needed so many photos.
All
Um,
right. Right.
of course, that was kind of fun having taste testing parties too, and that's
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a great place to do it.
yeah.
And so you had a lot of successful recipes. You got at least 90.
Mhm.
There were probably some you
Yeah.
didn't include that were good, but there must have been some that kind of flopped. You got any
Oh
funny
yeah, there were some
stories?
awful ones. Oh yeah, because even before the idea of putting the cookbook together, just different experimentation that I did. It took me forever to figure out what to do with kale to make it edible, in my opinion. One of my earliest efforts was I thought, well, why don't I dry it and use it more of a spice,
Yeah,
So
interesting.
in my opinion, that one was pretty awful, is dried kale and cinnamon rolls. And my
Oh,
dear mom, she said,
Oh,
"Oh, it's not bad." And she just dunked the whole thing in her coffee and she's like, "See, it's fine." I'm like, "Yeah, no."
she lived through the Depression. No, like, oh no, no, not where she lived, but like,
Yeah, so no, she was a sport. But yeah, that was pretty awful. Yeah, I've had some different experimentation with, trying to make good things on the grill, experimenting with some different sauces and spices that were just disastrous. There, you actually can do some things with zucchini that is nasty. Yeah.
what is well besides kale? But what is like? I can't even make anything with fill in the blank.
Should I go to some of the vegetables I did not include in the cookbook, or?
Absolutely,
let's
yes.
talk about those.
Um, I I can't do anything with avocado. I mean, there's just nothing I like about avocado. I'm sorry.
Really?
Not
Oh
even
my God,
brownies?
you've never done like I make a great avocado chocolate pudding. Honest to God, you
Oh,
wouldn't
Okay.
she does.
know.
She does. I have a
You
video
Okay.
would
of that.
not know that it's not even like something's amiss in this. It's not that way at all.
Yeah.
And I can respect that. I will be honest, chocolate is another one of those things that I don't care for.
That's not one of
So
your things.
Oh,
Okay, fair
wow.
enough.
You
That's
really are an
amazing.
I'm on the
outlier.
hunt now
yeah,
because
yeah,
the avocado
yeah.
is the most nutritionally dense fruit.
I know.
Is it the
You know,
taste or consistency you don't like?
it's the taste. It's got a bit of a tang to it to me. It's very distinctive. As I approach things, my magical blend of what do you put with that overwhelms that flavor.
Yeah.
So still working on that, but
Right.
that's
Well,
that's okay.
so give me another one that you just like.
Artichokes are another one that I really have a hard time with. Yeah,
But
because
if you
I've
add enough cheese and butter and
okay,
breadcrumbs, but
okay,
they're a pain in the
okay.
ass to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Although, you know what? You've given me an idea now. I'm going to have to try that. When you say that, I have a fabulous Icelandic fish recipe that has a spicy cheese layer, like using a strong Swiss cheese, and you mix mustard with whipped cream and put a layer of that on there, and it kind of all
Whipped
bakes
cream?
together. Oh
Oh my
yeah, it makes like
God.
almost like a great rich Alfredo in there, except it's got tangy because you're using spicy mustard in there.
It's not sweetened whipped cream, I imagine. It's just whipped
No,
cream.
no, yeah, just
Like a
to give it
Dijon
body.
or like a stone mustard?
I usually use a spicy brown mustard in there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But if it's
Yeah,
something that
being
would
from
blend,
Illinois,
maybe
So
of course.
you're gonna mix some artichokes in with that now? Is that what you're saying?
maybe we'll kind of put a layer in there and see how that bakes together.
Yeah.
But when you
Yeah.
do the artichokes like that, and if you use them jarred, then they usually are marinated, so that's going to skew
Ooh.
everything. Yeah.
No, things have to be fresh. You got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
use fresh because you're
I
going
would
to have better
suggest
nutrition with that.
asparagus rather than artichokes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, asparagus.
Okay. Well, asparagus, I I've made my peace with asparagus, you know.
That's funny.
What did you not like about asparagus?
For me, it was definitely the texture.
Yeah, it
Um,
can be
and
off-putting.
then so
Yes.
sometimes, especially when it's picked fresh, if somebody doesn't know, they'll get really woody asparagus,
That's true.
or if it's overcooked, it gets very mushy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But flavor wise, I always felt like it was almost the same flavor profile as sweet peas.
Yeah.
To me, it's very
Kind of.
similar.
Yeah, that's interesting that you would
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
and speaking
So
of peas, after you eat asparagus, your pea has a distinct odor. Maybe. Some people don't have the gene to detect it. And you've heard this before, right?
I've heard that
And
before,
I've
yeah.
experienced it.
Sophomore humor we have here.
I couldn't let that
But
pass.
but you're right that asparagus aren't as finicky as zucchini, but the flash point, if you will, that like it's like, oh, this is perfect. Boom.
Yeah.
Now you overcooked it and it's like awful.
One of the first places, ironically enough, that I ever had asparagus that I enjoyed was in Iceland.
Hmm.
It was with sea bass and it was white asparagus.
Oh, yeah.
And the flavor was
Mm.
really mild and
It's different.
nice. And, you can almost think of it as like, oh, that's kind of a gateway flavor. You start out really mellow, and then every time you have a little bit more asparagus, you kind of get it a little greener, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, it's not so bad.
We talked about some of your recipes that flopped. Let's
Yeah.
tell us of just a few of the recipes that you really like. What are your favorites in your book?
Uh, I make the spinach vanilla cake. I've made
Hmm.
that a few times and it's good. Of course I have a huge sugar habit. I have a real sweet tooth, so
Hi
um
Heidi, we love you.
yes.
Cynthia's right
Yep,
with you.
we're there. So a lot of desserts.
Yeah,
I love those, and the cake is definitely one of my favorite.
right.
Um,
Well,
the car
while we're thinking about sweets, there's an anecdote in the intro to your book about your mother going to the doctor and what he told her and what she did. Can you tell us that?
Yeah, my mom, of course, was also nearly as veggie averse as I was, and did not have what she considered a healthy diet. So her doctor, was trying to question her about her eating habits, and told her she needed to get more greens in her diet. So she left the doctor's office and went to the grocery store and bought a big old bag of M&Ms and sat at the table and sorted them out and had all the green ones in a pile and said, I have to eat them because it's doctor's orders.
Now
Um,
I
those are
could have been
gone,
very
aren't they?
good friends with your mother.
Yes. She was a hoot.
That's good. Okay, well, I interrupted you again. Sorry to
Yeah.
try to inject some humor, but I wanted that story in. Uh, okay, your favorite recipe is the spinach vanilla cake. That was one.
Yes.
Else?
Yeah, that's definitely one. I added some sauces and jams and jellies.
All right.
I every year I make strawberry beetroot jelly,
Hmm.
which is very good.
Yeah,
All you taste is a strawberry, but it's got nice beet juice in there.
right.
Um,
A lot of
and
antioxidants in that
Yeah,
beet. Yeah.
yeah, it's so great. And ironically enough, I do not like mayonnaise. I do not like kale, but I've got a kale lemon pepper mayonnaise that is fabulous. I mean, I will
Kale.
put that on everything. It is
Interesting.
awesome.
Yeah.
I really like that one. Probably 50% of everything in the main dish category I make at least once a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are all kind of like my personal core recipes that I make a lot.
Right. Right. Well, I guess it's like saying, who's your favorite child? I have three daughters, and people say, you can't answer that question.
Yeah. I'm a
So,
foodie. I eat everything.
right. That's
Well,
me.
now you do.
Well, now I do. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
do you like
Will Rogers.
brownies?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you like brownies?
I don't like chocolate, but I like a blondie.
There you go.
And I'm with you on
There's a
that.
lot of
Like,
recipes for avocado brownies, but I don't know how a blondie would work?
I'm going to have to experiment with that more. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not big on chocolate either. Like a little bit of chocolate goes a long way, but I'll eat a vanilla cake in one
Yeah.
sitting by myself.
Yeah.
So like I get on that. So I don't know. So I don't know if like
Well,
butterscotch.
your avocado pudding that you were talking about, if I remember, it was replacing all the other oils that normally go into
Well, and
fats.
it was also sweet potato.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
And so that helped with the viscosity, if you will. So then it
And you
was
didn't need as much sugar, or maybe you didn't even
I
need
don't think there
sugar.
was any sugar.
Yeah, that
Like
was
I
Oh,
think that it was
perfect.
like um the I haven't made it in a while, but like I think there was like some sort of honey or some sort of maple syrup, something that was like kind of faux sugar.
I got the
Yeah.
video of you making it. I'll send it to Heidi,
Oh, awesome.
and maybe
I'll have to try that.
Only my hands making it. Because I
and so
said
the
until we can afford hair and makeup, there's no video.
so when the son of Hidden Vegetables comes out, or the bride of Hidden Vegetables comes out, you can include Cynthia's recipe. She won't charge you
There you
anything.
go. We're going to have to
There
come
you
up with
go.
some more creative recipes. Yeah.
Your book does not come out for another month. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it comes out September 16th. Yeah.
Okay, keep it on your list. Go to Amazon. You can pre-order it, I bet.
You can pre-order the ebook on Amazon or the hardcover or paperback from the publisher's website.
Great. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. I got to say, I've looked through the books, I looked through all the recipes. I'm going to name some that I thought I'm going to try. I haven't had a
Okay.
chance yet.
Where did you find
Awesome.
where did you get them? Where did you get the recipes? I'm like online, I'm looking at it and I can't.
She sent me an advance copy of the book. So I
Oh,
have.
sorry.
Yeah, we had 50 advance copies, I think, that
Wow, I feel
certain
privileged.
ones.
Yes,
Wow, Edwin.
I'm very privileged. Okay, so veggie peanut chicken and zucchini noodles.
Yeah, that
That
actually is
caught my
really good.
eye. It sounded a little, like an Asian style dish, which I love. I make my own Thai food a lot, so I think I could put some
Yeah.
Thai spices in that. I didn't look at
Oh,
your
yeah.
spices. Then butternut squash cornbread.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that's
So
pretty good.
how does
Yeah.
that how is the butternut squash incorporated in there? Is that just chunks? Does it become like an emulsion? How's that work?
Yeah, I use pureed butternut squash. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yep.
I'll name one more.
Okay.
Honey walnut Brussels sprouts, because I love Brussels sprouts when they're cooked properly. But
Okay. They honestly, if you love Brussels sprouts, you may be disappointed in that
oh,
recipe.
because they're like shredded or minced or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically what I do on that one is just run them through a little food processor,
Yeah.
break them down. I start out with honey and walnuts with a little butter, and then I add in the Brussels sprouts, and then just kind of add in long grain rice, and it
Oh,
all
okay.
comes
Right. The
together.
rice. Yeah.
And when you're crunching on stuff, because Brussels sprouts, no matter what you do to Brussels sprouts, they're gonna stay crunchy. There is no way you can break those suckers down.
That's true.
If you put the walnuts in there, your brain doesn't really catch that texture.
Okay.
You just crunching on the
Right.
nuts and everything, and you just don't even know the Brussels sprouts are in there.
Yeah. Well, I love Brussels sprouts. I roast them mostly, but minced up and a great shaved raw Brussels sprouts shaved salad is one of my favorites.
Oh,
But you
okay.
probably wouldn't. Maybe your readers of this book wouldn't like that, but it can be very good. So anyway,
Yeah, I like
well,
them roasted. Roasted. What was the name of your publisher?
Hekla,
Oh,
Hekla Publishing.
Hekla.
Yes.
okay. Well, what else would you like to, before we let you go, what else do you want to say about your book?
I would just say that it's totally okay that there are some vegetables you don't like, and it's still totally okay to eat them in a way that you don't have to like them. I put that in the book. Embrace the distaste. It's
Yeah,
okay.
that's smart. That was good. Very clever.
Any adult beverages in this book?
No, but honestly, I had a few ideas. There's kind of a separate things I'm working on because you end up with so much of that cauliflower juice or zucchini juice and that. It's like, wow, what a great addition to a cocktail or a mocktail or something. And we need to work on a few of those. I think that would
Good.
be fantastic.
Yeah, you could make a dirty martini instead of the olive juice out of the, you could put one of those other juices in it. I bet it would be
Yeah.
good.
But how would you make it salty? Just add the sodium?
Good point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Put
I'm
it on
gonna
the
have to work
rim.
on those.
Like, okay, a margarita then. Put the salt on the rim.
Bloody Mary.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to let you go, but
I have to ask her one thing first.
okay.
Okay. Okay.
My grandson, who's just on with us earlier before you came on, is what I would call a super taster.
Ooh, okay.
He will not, I don't have a single vegetable or a fruit for that matter that he likes.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna have to get your book and
Yeah.
let him try making some of the things.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've kind of read about people who are super tasters and that flavor comes out so strong for them that it makes it really difficult. So, yeah, that
Mhm.
would be interesting to see if that helps somebody like him eat a few
Yeah,
more vegetables.
But it will.
sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's something I didn't tell Lorana that we do here on the podcast. It's a ritual we go through.
Okay.
I was afraid to tell her because I figured you'd really back out.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
this
you
rit-
think you hate avocados.
this
All
ritual
right.
is painful, Heidi. I'm sorry to say, it's very painful.
Okay.
But we make our guests go through it as a condition to be on the show.
Okay.
But so here's the deal.
Yeah.
Teresa loves puns, and she loves the worst puns that are. I don't know how she finds these bad puns, but
Okay.
they are so bad that she brings one to every episode, and we punish our guests and our listeners
Okay.
with these puns. And
Okay.
so it's usually in the form of a question. She'll ask a question, and we try to guess the punny answer. And then most times we don't get it, and she'll tell us, and then we have to express our displeasure because we call this segment on the Produce Buzzers podcast Homegrown.
Okay.
So there's no laughing aloud, and you won't want to laugh when you hear it, I'm sure. But
Okay.
so she'll give us the pun, and we'll try to guess the answer. And if we don't, then she'll punish us. Okay. So here we go.
Okay.
Teresa, what's the
Okay.
homegrown today?
Well, I think you'll really relate to this one because a father was trying to get his kids to eat more fruits and vegetables. So he thought, if I make a Hawaiian pizza, put, the pineapple on it, they may, actually eat some fruit. So he made it and it didn't turn out right. What do you think he did wrong?
Okay. So he wants to get his kids to eat some fruit. He decides a Hawaiian pineapple pizza is the method. He made it, but he did something wrong and it didn't turn out right. So we got to guess now what would be the punny answer to that. Rick, come on, you're usually pretty good at guessing these.
Oh, that's
He added the crown.
No.
the crown of the pineapple.
Pineapple pizza. What could be a pun?
Now you said on a Hawaiian pizza, right?
Hawaiian pizza, yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't
But
necessarily have to be pineapple.
Yeah.
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 It's got
Pineapple.
pig on it too, right?
Something to do with a lay. He didn't lay the pineapple, right?
That's
what I
good.
was
That
thinking.
was
But
that was
that's a
very
pretty
good.
good one,
Yeah.
yeah.
That he didn't lay it out. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I got no idea.
Yeah,
Do you have
yeah,
any
no.
idea, Heidi?
No,
Well,
you were going exactly where I was. I was thinking, well, he probably just didn't lay it out right.
Okay, so
okay,
everybody
I'm gonna
gives
do it.
up.
Okay.
He should have cooked it on a lower temperature.
Oh.
Oh.
Actually, aloha was the first thing that came to my mind, but I couldn't. I couldn't.
Should have cooked it on
I couldn't.
aloha temperature. Okay. Oh, you stooped to a new level.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
I'm sorry about that, Heidi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yet that will probably stick with me for a long time.
Yeah, you can't unhear that. I know.
It's called
Kind of like
trauma.
kind of like an earworm. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of
No,
fun. Thank you
it
so
has
much for
been.
taking the time. We'll
Yeah,
eagerly await to see your cookbook out to the public, and we'll encourage people to look for it. Let's give them your web address so that they can go there and see all the other works you've done.
yeah.
What's
Thank you so much. Web address is HeidiHermanAuthor.com.
Heidi Herman,
And
author. Herman is with one N, correct?
Herman is with one of everything.
One of everything. I like that. Yeah, because sometimes I've seen Herman spelled with two N's, but yours is just since our listeners are just listening, I wanted to make sure they.
My books are all available, and I make sure my mom's books are always stay in print too.
Great.
So
Good.
that's a
So
nice legacy.
we'll look for that.
They're on my website, or our Hecla Publishing has all of mine plus all my mom's.
What's the name of the publishing again?
Hecla, Hekla.
Okay, that sounds Icelandic.
It is, yeah.
This has been delightful. Thank you
This has
again for
been so
taking the
much
time.
fun. Oh,
Great.
thank you for having me on. You guys have been great to talk to, and I may not like eating veggies, but I sure do like talking about them.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
That's good.
Nicely done.
Thank you, so.
All
Bye-bye.
right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the Produce Buzzers podcast, brought to you by Produce Buzz, the gathering place for lovers of fresh fruits and veggies. We hope you were entertained a bit and educated a lot about fresh produce. Be sure to join us next time, and please tell your friends to do so as well. Like, share, and comment on our Produce Buzz Facebook page, and check out our website at www.producebuzz.com. There you will find articles about fresh fruits and veggies, how to select, store, and prepare them, as well as lots of interesting facts about all the wonderful bounty the earth provides for us. Until next time, be fruitful and don't forget to veg out.